Hello, I'm Ivan. I'm a Venezuelan who has been learning languages for 4 years, and because of this, my life changed completely. Currently, I'm in a 6 months challenge to learn German and basically get as fluent as I can. But this wouldn't be possible if I were that guy. That guy was like to porn, video games, a lot of things, and now I'm this guy.
Hello, this video I'm going to be talking about if you're a geek. Language learning is actually probably your best option in order to actually leave these freaking bad habits which you probably actually don't really even like that much. So let's say that you're addicted to some video games and you don't like, right? Let's say also anime, maybe some series on Netflix, whatever. Well then, language learning is actually something which you can use, you can use the things that you do already to learn a language, right? Now, one of the problems which people encounter when it comes to this type of learning is that they actually get addicted to this type of learning a lot and they don't do anything else. So that's one of the first problems that you actually encounter when it comes to learning with something video games, anime, videos on YouTube, right? That's the first problem that you encounter. But if you actually are prepared to basically, and you know that you basically will not be out of your freaking life doing this shit, then actually you're prepared and you shouldn't be scared about using those things, because these are the dynamic methods which you can use to literally use learn a freaking language, right? So that is probably what you should be doing already. So let's say that you, I don't know, you are the anime and you want to learn Japanese. Well then, you're going to do it. Because, I mean, even if it's kind of difficult at the start, it actually is not as difficult as you think, right? And since you already have watched most of the animes, like me probably, I already before starting to learn Japanese, I already watched 100 or 200 animes or something like that. So it was yeah, I can literally rewatch almost every anime on the planet and learn Japanese with that, right? And since you already know the context of most animes, then that's actually another good thing too, right? So probably that's something that you should be doing. Now, most people believe that you can speak a language by just doing immersion, which is basically what I'm telling you to do. Immersion is basically just watching things in the language, doing things in the language, right? Like reading, listening, all of the things, right? That's immersion. And people believe that by just doing input, which is immersion, right? You are just literally inputting things into your brain. People believe that by just doing that, you are going to be able to speak, when the reality is actually very different. You are not probably going to be able to speak. Because right now, I'm on a college, right? I'm not learning Japanese as much right now. I'm on a pause, I'm trying this method with German. But after this month, I'm going to be learning German with German and Japanese at the same time, right? So my goal is basically perfectioning my Japanese and my German in 3 years, right? That is my goal right now. And I think it's actually pretty achievable as long as you have, as long as I have, at least 3 to 4 hours daily, right? As long as I have that, and it will be 2 hours each, well, it will be cool, right? Now, how I'm planning to achieve this? I plan to achieve this in the way that, in basically a way that is actually kind of efficient and basically I'm going to just be talking to myself most of the time, because I don't know if you know about this, but like looking for language exchange partners is actually not something that is actually really enjoyable for what from what I've seen and from what I've tried also. And also, I think that you should look for a language exchange partner when you already can talk with a person, right? If the person has to teach you the freaking language, then probably it's not the best time to look for a person to talk with, you know? And also, most of the language exchange sites and apps are, how do you say this? Are literally like dating, right? So dating apps and shit of the like. So yeah, it's actually not. Wait, sorry. So it's actually not as efficient anymore to look for a language exchange partner, especially when you have like AI and all of this shit, right? So yeah, the primary point that I want to talk about is you actually can learn a language with all of these things like video games and anime, and at some point you're going to leave them, right? So I'm going to tell you my experience with English, because I'm not a native English speaker, as you probably can notice, right? I have a slight accent, and yeah, by the way, I'm a Spanish native. What I'm trying to look for something, but like I don't know where it is. Well, the point is, I'm a Spanish native, and I'm from Venezuela, right? And I've learned without literally any freaking money, right? So yeah, you don't need money to learn a language, right? First that. You need money, you don't need to pay anyone else, you don't need now. You can pay someone to actually teach you specifically to you, so you basically learn faster, right? But that's another thing. You don't need money to learn a language, and I actually will advocate for you to learn by yourself, not learn like out of this fucking shit with people or something like. I will actually advocate for that, as long as that person is not trying to teach you the language, if you know what I mean. If that person is trying to teach you how to learn a language, okay, that's cool, because I mean that's just going to be like 2 to 3 hours in which he explains to you the method and all of that shit, and that's it, right? As long as that person is doing that, right? But like, if that person is teaching you the language, like here's going the verbs, and here's going that, and here's that, and here's this, and here's that, bro, like it's not really as useful, honestly. So yeah, I'm left with fucking something, but whatever. I was looking for the top of like this shit, but like I can't find it. So I will use this. So yeah. Sorry, because it is really noisy, so maybe you want to turn your volume down for a minute. Well, let's let it there for a moment. Okay, so after you start learning, you will get to that like this very initial level in which you don't know anything, and that's actually probably one of the most annoying levels when it comes to like language learning, because you can't really play anything right now, play or watch or do anything in the language that is actually kind of fun right now. So I would recommend in this case to just literally go through initial level, which is like, okay, like you do maybe some Duolingo shit, you do like, you look for a frequency list in which you have the most frequent 1,000 words, 10,000 words. You create sentences with AI of those words. You use then a TTS to basically reproduce those sentences, right? Now you listen to them, you write them, I don't know, you do lots of things with those sentences, right? After you do that, probably the most important thing that you could do is you're trying to memorize those sentences, like you're just basically repeating them every time, and then basically that's when you can watch content using those type of sentences, right? So maybe, I don't know, if you are trying to learn with video games, then you should learn with sentences that are related to video game vocabulary, right? So that's another thing too. Okay, so yeah, like that's more or less the method is actually not as difficult. You can look for this channel which basically explains it perfectly, which is Michael Hyperpolyglot with Y, right? Michael, not with the normal AI, not with the normal I, with a Y, right? So yeah, Michael Hyperpolyglot. You look for that, and basically that person, that guy, tells you how to do his method, which is basically more or less a method that I do. He doesn't use as much YouTube, if I'm not wrong. I think so, but that method is actually pretty useful, honestly. So yeah, you can actually use that method to learn first the sentences to get through that initial level, and then after that, basically you start playing video games, you start watching anime, because basically that's the more natural way of learning the language. And when you start doing this, something that will happen is that, okay, at some point, anime, video games, and series on Netflix or YouTube videos will become too easy. And when this becomes too easy, basically you have to remove that shit, right? That's why I say that you need to have in mind that this will not like last long, right? Like you learning with video games and all that shit will not last long if you're learning just one language. But like the point of this is, if you're learning a language with with video games, series on Netflix, and all of this shit, something that will happen, and I hope that it happens to you actually, is whenever you go back to playing video games in English or in your native language, you will feel unusual. You will feel like unproductive. I hope that this happens to you, because it happened to me, right? When I was learning English, it happened to me, and because of this, I literally just stopped playing it. And whenever I wanted to play a video game, I literally played the video game in another language. So I hope that this happens to you. I know that some people think that this is a bad thing because they can't enjoy the video game, but like you shouldn't be enjoying the video games, because I mean it's something that is just unusual, and it's something unproductive, and it's something that probably just shouldn't be doing, right? So yeah, as for the video, I hope that you can do something about your addiction to this shit. And if you want to know more about this, check my other videos. Bro, I'm stupid as fuck.